Welcome to the Success Pick and Mix podcast. I'm your host, Nicky Raby, a professional pick and mixer. I'm a personal brand coach, a speaker, an actor, a creator, and a podcaster. I'm on a mission to help you find and create your version of success. Your pick and mix of life and business on your terms. A blend that complements your personality, your goals, and your circumstances. Since 2018, I've been sharing interviews and mini episodes to help you unlock your next step, to make it real and make it happen. Round here, we dream big. We go for the ideal version. We talk about money and make moves our future selves would be proud of. This podcast is free and available for you whenever you need it. So do rate, review, and subscribe for new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices and availability, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests. Now, on to today's episode. In today's episode, I talk to Natalie Lee, who is the founder of Style Me Sunday. I absolutely love Nat's content. I think it's empowering. I think it's soul-searching. I feel like I always leave her account and her content with a message or a thought. And last year, I spoke at her Warrior Woman event. If you haven't checked it out, have a look at social media. You'll see some wonderful pictures by Ocean Taylor. It was just a great event, bringing women together and talking about these things such as body positivity, empowerment and identity as we move beyond, the age of 17, 18, 19 that we were kind of told was the pinnacle of our beauty. I completely and utterly disagree. So it's a really great one today about all of these topics, but also how you can create your own career that is going to work alongside your children or your circumstances, and actually you can claim what you do and monetize it. I think it's a fascinating topic. As always, come and join in the conversation over on Instagram at Nicky Raby, or you can come and find the show notes, nickyraby.com/podcast. Also, just a very quickie, I would love to get to 1 million plays by the end of the year. So if you love the podcast, please rate and review and subscribe and all that good stuff on iTunes. I really want new people to find the podcast who may enjoy these types of conversations. That's enough for me today. Here's Nat. Enjoy. Morning, Nat. Welcome to the podcast. How are you doing?
Morning. Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Great.
Lovely to be here.
Oh, what a treat. Thank you. So, would you mind just telling us what you do and what you're all about?
Yeah, so I guess I'm considered a blogger or an influencer. I never know what to call myself, to be honest. It's a real bugbear with me. I need to sort it out. I need to give myself a title.
You should just coin this new term and be phone all the 12-year-old kids this is what we're calling ourselves now. So Catch up.
I know. But so an influencer. I do a lot of stuff on Instagram, lots of fashion-based stuff. But I also talk a lot about body image, diversity. And, my aim really is to inspire others, especially mums, to feel comfortable in themselves again, to, get their identity back. I think after you have children, a lot of women feel like they've lost themselves a little bit. I know I certainly did. And, just start focusing on themselves again and achieving again. And just feeling good about themselves.
Oh, happy days. Yeah, I think I remember even in pregnancy, although I felt really confident then, I sort of went into one of those shops on the high street where they do maternity wear, and it was like the worst kind of 80s film showreel that I kept going in the changing room and my mum just kept shaking her head, not like, oh wow, that one looks good. It was just awful that I just was like, oh my goodness, I just look so old and matronly, and I don't feel like that kind of goddess I want to be. So goddess, but that kind of that vibe. Yeah. But How did it start? Did it begin with the blog?
Yes, I started blogging. Started blogging when I was pregnant with my second daughter. I used to be a midwife, and I found when I was pregnant with the second one, I thought, you know what, I don't think I'm going to go back, because juggling work and being a mum, you know, especially with the shift work, was already quite difficult. I was finding it difficult. My husband works really long hours, and, you know, the childcare, and we had decided this mutually, that was going to fall down to me. So, I just knew that I wasn't going to go back to work officially. So I wanted to do something that would fulfill my brain, and, you know, outside of nappies and weaning and breastfeeding, and, you know, I just wanted to do something for me. And I've always been interested in fashion. So it started off as a fashion blog primarily. And it's really evolved from there, actually. I still do fashion, but something happened, and I just decided, you know, it's not just about the latest shoes to wear, or, you know, what kind of dress is on trend at the moment. I really wanted to do something. I guess it's kind of tapping into the same feelings that I felt when I was a midwife, and I really wanted to tap into that sort of empowering other women sort of vibe. So yeah, that's where it evolved, and I started my Warrior Woman project.
Yeah, I mean, because you're in that sort of place, I guess, at the beginning of motherhood, where you're most spent kind of emotionally, physically, just everything is all out to figure out. But also you might not have those funds of going, right, I'm just going to go to Topshop or wherever, and, you know, that first time you go back to Topshop after having a baby might be quite a disappointing experience, going, I'm going to just put that crop top back. I don't think it's for me right now.
Might be a little bit traumatic.
Exactly. We'll leave that. But it's that moment of, you might not, because you're sort of taking on maternity leave or whatever, you might not have those funds to kind of, you know, get your hair cut in the way that you want, or whatever it might be. And I think really establishing who you are as the new identity is a great place to start. And I mean, I spoke at your Warrior Woman project last year, and I know it's been in the mix. Like, tell us more about it, because it was a wonderful, amazing day.
Yeah, so last year I've done the Warrior Woman projects before, but they've always been social media campaigns before that. But last year I decided to go a bit bigger, and I invited everyone to a really super cool location. And I encouraged women to take their clothes off, have really cool pictures of themselves, and there was lots of talks. Obviously, you done an amazing talk, and the Scummy Mummies did a sketch, and there was live art and music and people being interviewed. It was just a really encouraging day where women were being really supportive to other women. And, you know, I think that's the main thing that I got out of it. There was no jealousy or comparing each other. You know, once you strip away that sort of once you strip away the egos, really, you just all realise, you know, we come in slightly different packages, but we're all very similar. We're all self-conscious and a little bit insecure. But, you know, all we want is validation. We want to be seen. We want to be heard. And it's about empowering women to believe in themselves again. And I just really felt like we managed to collectively achieve that for that day. And hopefully it, you know, sort of lasted a bit longer too.
Yeah, and I'm thinking back, actually, there weren't many children there. I don't remember sort of seeing any. And it was really lovely, actually, that you often, as mums or as carers, we're doing the two things simultaneously. We're caring, but also going, blimey, I better put a brush through my hair before I leave the house, or have I got the right shoes on? Have I got a bra on? Great, lovely, I've done all of that, I'm winning. But it was very much a celebration of the new version of you as a woman, and that's a really great thing to have, and sort of separating them. How did you find the response on social media? Because I remember you putting the feelers out of saying, I'm thinking about doing this as, and that can be quite hard actually, to sometimes go, right, this idea that I've had cooking in my head, I'm going to go live with it and I'm going to press publish and I'm going to see what the reaction was. What happened? How did it pan out?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is always a sort of step into the unknown, and just taking that step can be really nerve-wracking. But I was pleasantly surprised. The response to it was absolutely amazing. In fact, I, probably couldn't have everyone that replied and said they wanted to be there, because there just wasn't physically enough space.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is that people could, if they weren't able to attend, they could follow online, and there was lots of sort of, social media support. So lots of people were posting, and I was doing lots of stories and live stories. So people could really, get involved even if they weren't physically there. And I've had so many messages and emails from people who have just said that, seeing those pictures just made them feel so much better about themselves. And I remember one woman sent me an email a few weeks after it, and she said, I have always hated my legs. I haven't worn a pair of shorts for 10 years. She said, after seeing those pictures online of all those different, beautiful, different shaped women in the photos, she said, I realised, why am I not wearing a pair of shorts, and what's going to happen? And so she said this, last summer was the first time she ever put on a pair of shorts. And you know what? Nothing happened. No one stopped dead in the middle of the road. And,
nobody had a heart attack or a stroke.
Yeah. So it's just about remembering that. And, we're so wrapped up in our own heads sometimes that actually we tie ourselves up in knots thinking about things, and the world is going to keep spinning, even if you do want to wear a crop top. And, so, yeah, it's just about doing what you want to do and trying not to worry too much about what other people are thinking, because 9 times out of 10, they're wrapped up in their own heads.
Absolutely.
They're not thinking about you.
Yeah, I think it's so true. But one thing I really love about your posts and the way that you show up, not only in person but online as well, is that you're a real storyteller for me. That you don't just do that generic, like, just stick on a lipstick and you'll be absolutely fine. You're really looking to help and give people those tools to go, do you know what? You've got to find your own vibe of what you need to do, rather than just put some heels on, and it's like, but I can't get up that climbing frame in heels. Well, I could, but it might look a bit porny.
Well, that's the thing. I always think there's a lot of sort of mum groups that, are kind of, they're like, be cool, wear bright red lipstick and be part of us. And I find it a little bit corny, a little bit elitist, and not the kind of vibe that I'm trying to promote. I'm not really trying to promote a girl gang situation. I'm trying to promote women doing it for themselves, doing you, and, instilling some confidence in yourself. You don't have to rely on having, I mean, God, I love the support of women, and I use women a lot in my life to give me advice and support, but actually I want women to find the strength from within. And that's where I'm going. That's what I'm doing, really. It's not do it my way. It's like find your own way.
Yeah, that's so key. How, I guess also as well, with weight and with body image, it's definitely quite a triggering topic for me because, you know, I was a dancer when I was a kid. You were always being sort of publicly humiliated and being measured up and then given a costume and a sandwich bag, and you're like, oh wow, that's it. They're just those two tiny pieces, that's it. And sort of, you know, whether it's like lining up along the ballet bar and sort of seeing that, I know even still that it brings out different things for people. How did you sort of find your voice in a way that you could kind of hold that space for people, but also allow not sort of be solely responsible, I guess? How do you keep your boundaries in place, especially when you get loads of messages online and across social media?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I don't know if I can answer it brilliantly, but I'll try. For me, what I do is I tell my journey. I try not to be too preachy about it. I don't have all the answers, so I'm merely telling you, you know, a story from my perspective. But yeah, that's it's interesting. I haven't really thought about it. I just say it how it is, really.
Yeah. Well, and that's brilliant, and that's why people love it. And I think that it's it always feels like such a community that you've built a conversation. Yeah. And I think that sometimes when, you know, I see huge influencers sometimes with thousands and thousands, and they have 2 comments, and I think, well, either all the followers are robots, or it's that sense that people can't quite say, oh, me too, or maybe it's just an intimidating post that people don't necessarily connect with. But especially your Friday finger post, like, tell us a little bit more about that. It's so good.
I love my Friday finger post. Well, you know, I think sometimes it's really good to just sort of I don't know how to describe it really. But anyway, what my Friday finger is basically I'm sticking a middle finger up to different things every week, and there'll be a different theme every week. It could be the diet industry. It could be, you know, big brands not showing a diverse range of models or representatives. Whatever's sort of getting my goat that week, I'll stick my Friday finger up to it. And you know, the thing is about the whole comments, you know, I invite discussion. Yeah. I'm not the oracle on everything or anything. And it's a space where you can have a really adult, polite discussion. And I'm also happy to be challenged, or, you know, my thoughts can be sort of provoked and stimulated. You know, it's a two-way street. It's not just, me sort of preaching to my followers. And I love that because I'm learning every single day, and that's great.
Yeah, I feel like also as well, it's such a new landscape, and that we're all sort of figuring out what this means, because when we were at school, we didn't have the internet, we didn't know about, thank God, like we didn't have social media, and there's this sort of flip side of like, we're all expected to kind of be visible and show up, especially if we've got a business as well. People always want to see the face behind the brand, and they want to see who you are, and rather than just kind of, I don't know, a little snapshot. I love all those sort of behind the scenes of things, but also we're all making it up as we go along and trying things and hoping for the best. And I was going to say, how have you, because I guess when you left school, like midwife is it's a proper job to tell the careers advisor, you know, people understand what you mean, and the fact
Why
that
are you saying? Are you saying my job now is not
yeah, what are you doing? But it's a lot more ambiguous, and I always I see it even when I say I'm a coach, like a business and life coach. I mean, actor people kind of get it a bit more if I've got that head on, but the amount of times where I will say it, when people go round at a wedding or something, they'll go, oh, so what do you do? And you say, and they kind of look at you, and then they just take a sip of their wine, and then they just talk to the person on the other side. I'm like, all right, fine, you don't get it, you're not my people, that's all right. But then some people will do that thing of going, how do you earn money? How much do you earn? People go well in with the conversation. So I guess, how have you found that, like, those new rules for yourself in terms of, how do you negotiate, or how do you know what the landscape is?
Oh God, so difficult. It has got easier because I've roped in some help to help me, because I'm not good at certain aspects of this. I blogging, you have to learn a hell of a lot of things on your own, like how to be a web developer, web designer,
and did you do that thing with your husband where you run in and you go, I think I've done it, I think it's live, I think it's there, oh my goodness, and then run back in and going, oh no, it's not.
Yeah, and also the many hours I spent trying to rectify things, and I'm just like, oh, I'm just not suited to this life. But no, you eventually work it out. But yeah, everything is, and I've made a lot of mistakes along the way, and I've definitely learned from them. And it's really important to acknowledge that you're not a negotiator or an accountant, or it's okay to not get it right straight away. But yeah, I think obviously just learning on the job and getting advice from people. But now I do get people to help me with certain areas that I've either got no interest in or no skills in. So that's
also, like, you showing up as you is a really great use of your time. The photos that you do brilliantly with Ocean. Oh, she's so wonderful. Big shout out to Ocean. But it's that sense of only you can do that. You can't get somebody else going, sorry, can you just be Nat for the day because I'm doing a spreadsheet. That's the sort of the magic of you, that only you can do that stuff. The rest can be outsourced, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's great because it means that I'm in complete control and I'm driving this bus, and I love the fact that I try not to. Obviously, I get influenced by other people, but I try really hard not to sort of copy anyone or go down somebody else's route, and really try and look inwards and think about, what is it that I really want to say? What is it that I really want to do? And try not to get stuck in that hole of let's just do what everyone else is doing, because it's easy to go down that route, and I can understand why, because you look at how many followers somebody's got and you're like, oh, look how well they're doing. I'm gonna do exactly that.
Yeah, and you see it sometimes going, you see a huge influencer wearing something, and then the next day, like, all the other people are doing it, like, and you just think, oh no, it just feels a bit. I mean, that's why I never want to have. That's why I love shooting with somebody like Ocean, because I never want to do that. Hi, I'm a female entrepreneur. Here I am getting off my jet, because most people are like, why has she got a jet? It's really weird.
Yeah.
Not that I have got a jet, but it's just, it has to be, it always has to feel authentic to me, and all of that. And I guess, like, what are the things that you do to keep yourself topped up and feeling good? And you're a mum of two, and that has its challenges as well. Are there some things that really work for you practically to keep your sort of head above water?
I mean, I am, I'm a very big fan of the phrase, you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
And I I am mindful of that I do need to look after myself because, well, basically no one wants to be around me if I don't look after myself. I mean, I'm just a horror to be around.
Oh, God, throw in some hormonal into the mix. You're just like, no, this is not me being my best self.
It definitely isn't. But, so yeah, I just, sometimes I'll do certain things that if I've been really dying for a massage for, a few weeks, I'll just think, do you know what? I've got a couple of hours here. I'm just going to book myself a massage or, getting my nails done or, I don't know, moisturising. Or you know what? Feels really decadent sometimes. Obviously, I'm not doing it in this weather, but having a bath in the middle of the day is just one of the loveliest things to do. And reading a magazine, or I'm really into podcasts at the moment. Been listening to Oprah's Super Soul Sessions.
She's so good. It just feels like she's speaking to me directly. It's like, it's lovely that a few other million people are listening, but I feel like this message is for me. It's like she just seems to read my mind of what I need to hear that day. It's so good.
And I've just recently listened to the Brené Brown one.
Yeah, brilliant.
And I've had to listen to it more than once because I really want to digest what they're talking about. And, oh, God, that kind of thing just fills me up so much. It's really, that's kind of the me time and the time when I feel like, yes, this
and I always get ideas as well. I don't necessarily get my ideas by going, right, if I just sit at my desk from 9 to 5, then that's when I'm going to do my best work. And that's a great thing these days, that you've been able to reinvent your own career by making it work for your schedule as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why I chose this career. There's no point in doing it if you're never going to get any time to actually enjoy it. So, yeah.
And has it made you think about how you talk about careers differently with your daughters?
Absolutely. Actually, one of the books I'm reading at the moment is Emma Gannon.
Oh, yeah, I've just read it. It's really good.
Yeah, the multi-hyphen method. And that really made me reevaluate the way I think about careers and how, we don't have to tell our children, right, you have to choose to be a doctor, an artist, or a singer.
Yes.
Which route do you want to go down? Now, we can be, we can do anything. We can do multiple things. I'm like you, I'm doing a podcast at the moment. I'm writing articles for different publications. I'm doing my Instagram. I'm modelling for various brands. So many different things I've got on the bubble at the moment. And I love that. Yeah. I love that so much.
And that really lights me up, actually. It keeps me really fresh and excited rather than some people might go, God, you're so busy all the time. And actually, I get a lot of downtime. I'm way less busy than somebody who's sitting at the same desk 50 hours a week. And I always feel like one thing leads to another, that, when you go to those networking events, sometimes you're like, oh, I've only just spoken to 3 people, but they were great chats.
Yeah, and it keeps it fresh, doesn't it? Fresh and exciting.
Yeah.
It's great. So I love that because my days are just different all the time. And it's great like that. I love the variety of that.
Definitely. Is there like a morning routine that you have that really sort of sets you up for the day, or stuff that sort of practically help you to do this? Because I guess, as I'm recording this, my partner's away, and so there have been some things where it's like, oh, I really need to, I don't know, get on top of what we're eating for the week, so I don't have to go, right, I'm going to do the nursery pickup and then take my kid around the supermarket, which he will hate at 5:30. Those sort of things that, what's the stuff that just makes your life easier so it enables you to be able to do the stuff you need to do?
Well, I've started, those vegetable, I won't tell you the brand, but those vegetable delivery, not vegetable, they actually deliver your weekly menu.
Yes.
With all the ingredients, and They tell you exactly how to cook it. Oh my God, what a game changer. I love it. It just means that one of the things I hated doing most was deciding what to cook for family.
Yeah.
And it just takes all of that out of the equation. And you know how much headspace that frees up. It's ridiculous.
And you actually then do something good with your evening, or it's not a stress of who's cooking. And I'm not just that woman in the middle of the supermarket carrying a tin of chopped tomatoes and going, right, what do I do with this then?
The amount of breakdowns my children have had in a supermarket is ridiculous. So I feel like I've almost got an allergy to taking the children to the supermarket. Yeah. So now I do it all online, or I get delivered our weekly menus. So that's brilliant. But other things, every single morning, my daughter's alarm goes off, and we always have the eldest one gets in first, and we have 15 minutes of cuddling.
No.
And then the younger one's alarm will get off, and she'll come in and we'll have some cuddling as well. And you know what? That just kind of sets up my day. Yeah. And we just have that time to just be with each other, just hold each other, and then we get up. And I'm not gonna lie and say it's stressless. I don't know if that's a word actually, but I'm going to claim it. But yeah, the whole sort of getting ready for school is never that easy, but it's really nice just to have that moment of calm in the morning before all hell breaks loose.
Totally. Those pockets of just like, this is nice, this is what it's for, before the madness begins. I've got one final question, which is, where would you like to be in 5 years' time?
Oh, what a good question. You know what? I'm actually not a planner. I don't sort of have aspirations of being in certain places, because it kind of changes all the time.
Yeah.
Depending on what I'm doing. But I have got something fairly big bubbling away. So for once I have a bit of an answer to that question, and I do want to be doing a lot more stuff in schools. I feel like pre-teens and teens, especially, from about 7, 8 years old, kids are becoming a lot more self-aware and a lot more conscious.
Mm.
And I really feel like we are not doing enough in our schools to try and help them. Rates of eating disorders are ridiculously high. Self-harming is also really, really a big issue at the moment. And I did a talk recently in a school, and when I was researching for it, I found a distinct lack of UK-based tools for me to use. So I'm working on trying to fill that gap. And so hopefully in 5 years' time, I'll be able to tell you about all the things I've done to do that.
The Nobel Peace Prize that you've been awarded very gravely. But I think you're right, because I think I was very much of the generation, I'm sure you were, it's just like, oh, come on, there's bigger things going on in the world, or, pull your socks up. And actually, we all we're not all supposed to have figured this out all the time. And we all need our little box set of stuff that we can keep coming back to.
But also, it's about your frame of reference. So just because, you're not in a war-torn zone doesn't mean that your experiences of anxiety or depression are not valid.
Yeah.
Because it's, we all have our own traumas and our own triumphs, and they're so unique to individual people. And Yeah, you can't compare like that. It's just not comparable. So you can't write something off and say, what are you depressed for? You live in the Western world and you've got a roof over your head and you've got food in your tummy. It's not. It just doesn't happen like that. So yeah, I'm very much into. We all have our own things to overcome. And they're very valid, and it's okay. It's okay to talk about them, to be vulnerable, and to get support from other people.
Yeah, definitely. And the amount of time, that thing of a problem shared is a problem halved, but even sort of saying stuff out loud, it is that sense of like, oh yeah, me too. And
yeah,
I think there are some people that, especially as a teenager, if you ever, I felt a bit anxious as a teenager and suddenly you start to talk about it and then other people say that that's the case for them and the relief is just huge. You're like, really? You feel
Absolutely.
Like this too? Oh, okay. I'm not because it's all about fitting in, isn't it, as a young adult?
But it's also, if you hold something in, you attach shame to it.
Yeah.
So if you don't talk about it, what you do is you internalise that shame and it just makes you feel like absolute shit.
Yeah.
So once you start talking about it and realise you're not the only one who is feeling these feelings, it just releases that whole feeling of shame from the pit of your stomach, and you feel it. You feel that release of the shoulders suddenly, where you realise I'm not the only one, and I don't have to feel bad about feeling this way.
Yeah, and it's a really great thing to be teaching our children as well. I mean, even with my 2-year-old son, I'm like, what are you feeling? How are you? Are you all right? I mean, I'm sure he's going to be in therapy by the time he's 9 because he's like, my mum just doesn't stop asking me how I am. But, I feel like one of my failures as a parent would be is if I produced a gormless man who just couldn't articulate what was going on and, would do that thing where he would just kind of close up. That for me, It's really important to have those as conversations and not that stiff upper lip of like, just get on with it, but to navigate through it, because often when you do talk about it, you find different solutions and how you feel on one day is very different from the next. Likewise with clothes or any of that really.
Yeah.
So
you're so right.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah. Well, I've absolutely loved chatting. Thank you so much. If people want to come and find out more and what you're doing and follow along, where should they go?
So across the board, if you want to find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, you can find me at Style Me Sunday. And pop along and let's have a chat. I'm always up for chatting.
And get the Friday fingers out. For the lads. Brilliant. Oh, thank you so much, Nat. I know people are going to take lots away from it. And I know that, I've got a leopard print skirt on today, but I'm doing a talk tonight. I thought, when I was thinking about it, I was like, right, I'm going to channel a bit of leopard print. But actually, I'm doing a talk tonight for 120 people. And I think sometimes you can kind of go to the old basics of what you should wear, or you don't want it to be about the outfit. But actually, sometimes you can, you want to feel good. Like, if people are putting your face on social media, you may as well feel like you've made an effort.
Absolutely. I always think that clothes, it's a little bit like putting a superhero, outfit on. Sometimes I can put things on and they just make me feel really bloody good, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, more to feeling good. I might go dressed as a superhero. That'll shock them.
Yes, do it.
Hi, I'm here as Wonder Woman. Can you point me to the room, please? That would be great.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, follow me along on Instagram. Here I am. Brilliant. Thank you so much. I've loved chatting.
Oh, me too. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you haven't already, feel free to rate, review, and subscribe for all the brand new episodes. If you want to go deeper with my support, check out my freebies house and unlock the rooms you choose. nickyraby.com/freebies house. I also have workshops, programs, and one-on-one bespoke offerings. For prices, availability, or just to have a chat with me, go to nickyraby.com. Thank you, as always, for spending some time with me and my guests, and I'll see you next time.